Oh look, another very similar flashlight. Actually, not so much. This is the Baton 3 Pro Max. So actually a completely different size of flashlight, but very similar functions. And in some ways, probably makes more sense than the original Baton 3 Pro. In this video, I want to explain exactly why that is. The key to selling a flashlight, I think, has a lot to do with how easy it is to carry. And one of the things that Olight does well is fill a lot of different niches when it comes to size. I mean, they have a very wide range of sizes. And it's not surprising to me, at least, that the Baton 3, this one right here, is the #1 selling Olight. 1200 lumen max, a nice compact package that's easy to carry with a reversible clip, magnetic tail, and a charging case. It's kind of ideal for people who want to forget that they're carrying a flashlight because it is so light. We'll talk about a little bit about weights after we talk about sizes. When you go up, the next level up is the Baton 3 Pro. And this is a significant jump up. In fact, it's almost twice the weight. It might actually be twice the weight. The funny thing I found about this is that even though it is representing a very well-established size frame, the S1R2 is the past generation and there was other ones as well, in some ways it doesn't really hit all of the factors that I'm looking for in a larger flashlight with larger capacity. Enter the Baton 3 Pro Max, and this is using a 21700 battery, so it's a significant jump up in capacity, power, output, you name it, from this one. I'm just going to point them out. And I think more than anything else, I think that the combination of these two makes far more sense. Because if you wanted something ultra compact, it's hard to argue with the Baton 3 Pro plus the charging case. But if you want something by itself that has a lot of power, can run a very long time, in some ways I think this makes more sense. And from what I can tell, it's one of the most compact 21700 powered flashlights I've ever seen. Like, it's not even close how small this is for the type of battery. And that doesn't mean they don't have a lot of features. In fact, it has the sensor, the hidden sensor built in, so it will automatically dim from its 2000 lumen output as you get closer to it, which is really cool. And that automatically shuts off, so if it opens up in your pocket or it turns on, you're going to have it automatically shut off and then it won't be an issue. So no chances of fires with that sensor, which is pretty awesome. Now, other flashlights have a sensor like this one, but they're not hidden. And that's great, but look at the size difference. I mean, if I line them up, you can really see just how much bigger the Warrior 3S is compared to the Baton 3 Pro Max. I think this is going to end up appealing to a lot of people. And one thing that I found particularly useful is that this light, unlike the Warrior 3S, really works in this sheath. Now, I've been able to get this in here if I really want to, but it's a snug fit. Let me show you what I mean. Let me actually flip it around the way it's supposed to go. To do that, this is the best way to load it in, like so. And you can see that we're really pushing the limits of this particular sheath. It works, but it's not ideal. And then, of course, I have to push it up from a spot with the button, and sometimes I tend to turn it on and into my face. Not the greatest thing. It works, but it's not great. This feels like it was basically meant for it, right? It really kind of fits it almost perfectly. And it doesn't matter how far down it goes, it still works great. I love this. This is a nice form factor, and it does not have many of the issues that I've had with past models. They've actually buried the button a little bit more, and they've also made it harder to press. So I haven't had any issues with accidentally pressing it, even if I'm wailing on the part where the button is exposed. It seems to be pretty good. I think there's a partial delay, so if you're just quickly hitting it, it won't turn on. So you have to hold it for some number of microseconds before it actually turns on. So really, really nice job done here. And it's got the same user interface that we're all familiar with both the Baton 3 and the Baton 3 Pro. It's all the same basic user interface. That's not a bad thing, okay? Now, there's not much more to say here other than I think they have filled an interesting niche in their lineup. In some ways, as I've said, I think this makes more sense. I use the Warrior Mini constantly. It's not actually right here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I use this one quite a bit more than I use the Baton 3. In fact, that's usually my go-to when it comes to this sheath. But I can see a reason why I would have maybe these three, skipping those two, versus the Baton 3. And I like this light, but when we're talking about assembling a combination of flashlights to use for different purposes, tail switch capable, you know, defensive light, I got that covered, right? Compact, got that covered. Now I have the ultra long lasting Baton 3 Pro Max. And I'm not kidding when I say long lasting. Where's that document? Hold on a second. So here we go. I'm just going to quickly showcase this. On the high especially, now you notice that it doesn't last for very long on the turbo, but on the high, it runs for 243 minutes at 800 lumens. That's a lot of output for a very, very long duration. And by the way, down here, you see the 240 minutes. That's actually at the 800 lumen mark. So it goes from 2500 to 800 for 240 minutes. That's great. And that's the output that is going to matter when I'm looking for a lot of brightness. When it comes to Baton 3, the high mode was equally useful, but at 300 lumens, running for about a half hour. A little bit more than that, actually. And then down here at medium, you're looking at 23 hours, almost an entire day at 120 lumens. And in a room, 120 lumens is a lot of light. It's a lot of light. And this is a pretty floody beam on this Pro Max. So it's a great output. And speaking of how to use it, this is actually kind of a nice find. Is that it turns out this is not so heavy that I can't put it on a hat and have it like fall off. It is just on that very edge. And coming in at like, what is it? I think 5.2 ounces this thing weighs. Let's take a look. 5. Oh wait, hold on a second. 5.23 versus 4.1 versus 3.6 versus 1.8. Actually, these are exactly half. Look at that. So I really think that this is about as big as you can go with the weight being positioned where it is. Notice that all the weight is back here, right? So when I put it on my hat, the weight is further back, right? Making it a lot easier to stay where it is. And between that and its ease of being used in my sheath, which I carry every single day, great job. I actually think that this light was not one I expected, nor did I think I wanted. And now that I have it, I actually love it. In fact, I love it a lot. I don't say it makes the Seeker 3 Pro obsolete. I don't think that. I think there's definitely a group of people out there for it. But now that I have this light, I don't know how much I'm going to be using that one. I use the Warrior 3. That's actually my, side table light in my bedroom. And the others I actually carry. This is one that can bridge the gap. It's one I could leave in the house because it has a long run time. It's also one I could take with me because it's small enough, yet has incredible high capacity. Very interesting. I didn't know I wanted this light, but I really do like it. This is a good offering from Olight. And for some reason, I think that the combination here really, really works of being compact, but having a huge amount of capacity. So not much more to say. Great job from Olight. And thank you for your time. We'll talk again soon.